Hi, I'm Eric with Simply Elegant Home Cooking. Today I'm going to share with you my recipe for steak au poivre. This is a ribeye steak with a green peppercorn sauce. This is an easy recipe, but it's absolutely delicious. You can replicate steakhouse quality results in your own home. Stick around, let me show you how easy it is to put this dish together. So when making steak au poivre, it's really important to get really high quality ingredients. I'm going to be using a ribeye steak today, have a really nice cut. And what you want to do is you want to go on with some kosher salt. You want to use a lot of it. And then you want to go in with a lot of cracked pepper. When you do your cracked pepper, you want to make sure that you don't have it too fine. You want to have about a medium grind to get some coarser pieces on there. That's going to help us develop a crust. So just use your hands and rub that in. Going to flip that over and hit the other side with our pepper and salt. You just want to be sure to hit all the sides, so be sure to mop that up on all four sides. And once we've seasoned our steak, you want to set a large cast iron skillet on to medium-high heat. We want to give this a full 10 minutes to come up to heat. We want it to be smoking before we put the steak on it. And I should also mention that our steak had a full hour to sit out before we seasoned it up. That allows it to come up to room temperature before it's going to go in the hot heat, and I blotted it as dry as I could get it with some paper towels. So while our steak sits out, let me go over some of the most important ingredients. Here I have a homemade beef stock that I've reduced down to make it extra concentrated. You'll notice that this is completely gelatinous at room temperature. That's what you want. You won't be able to get this effect with a store-bought beef stock. It just doesn't work, so be sure to make your own homemade recipe. If you don't know how, you can subscribe to my channel. I'm actually going to be putting this recipe out soon. So if you haven't subscribed, be sure to do that. But make sure that you use the best quality beef stock that you can get. And one of the other special ingredients in this recipe is green peppercorns in brine. These can be tough to find. I found them at Whole Foods, but none of the other local grocery stores carried them. So if you can't find them, you can substitute for extra cracked black pepper. But these have a unique flavor. They're a little bit more mild than a black peppercorn. I highly recommend using them if you can find them. Our pan is smoking. We're now ready to put the steak on. So I'm just going to go in with just a very small amount of oil. You don't want to use very much. Just a very small amount. And we can now lay the steak on. And that's the sound you want to hear. We're going to let that cook untouched for about 3 minutes on each side. And we're about 3 minutes in. Already this is smelling incredible. It's time to give it a good flip. So we have a really nice crust already on the first side. We're going to cook the other side for another 3 minutes, and then we're going to pop this in the oven. And now that we've seared both sides for 3 minutes, we just want to take one extra step and sear the fat cap. That's going to cook a lot quicker. We just want to render that down a bit before we pop it in the oven. Alright, so that fat cap is rendered nicely. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this on a clean plate, on a clean skillet, pop that in a 400-degree oven for about 5 minutes, and then we're going to make the sauce. So what I've done first is to dump out the excess oil. We don't want to wipe the pan. We want to make sure that we leave those brown bits on the bottom of the pan, the fond. But I poured out the excess oil, and now we're going to go in with one chopped shallot. And what we're going to do is we're just going to sweat that down for about a minute. And after cooking the shallot for about a minute, I'm going to go in with the liquor. I'm using a bourbon. This is called deglazing. I'm going to go in there, deglaze the pan, give this a little swirl. And what we want to do is we want to cook that liquor down until it's syrupy. And that didn't take long at all. So now that that's reduced, we're going to go in there with our reduced beef stock. I use about equal parts reduced beef stock and liquor. Give this a nice swirl. We're going to let that reduce a bit. And as that reduces, we're going to go in with one of our most important ingredients, our green peppercorns in brine, which I've drained. And I'm going to add a little bit of extra cracked black pepper as well. Give this a nice stir around. And lastly, I'm going to go in with about a 1/4 cup of heavy cream. Just want to give this a nice stir to incorporate everything. And in a couple of moments, this sauce is going to be ready. And just a very final step in this pan sauce and just about every other pan sauce I make is to turn the heat off, go in with a cold knob of butter. And what we want to do is we want to just keep that moving and let that emulsify. And I almost forgot, you want to be sure to add any drippings from that steak as it's been sitting out to rest. We want to add that back into the sauce and give that another stir. And we're about ready to plate this up. And I've served this up with a nice baked potato. Time to go in there with our sauce. So this is the finished dish. This is our ribeye steak with a green peppercorn sauce. This is an absolutely delicious dish. This is great for special occasions. You can impress your friends, family, in the comfort of your own home. Everyone should give this a try. I really hope you enjoyed watching. I'm Eric with Simply Elegant Home Cooking. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll be seeing you again soon.